Alright, just going to get a test run here this morning of some movement medicine, and might post this once I get it figured out how to go live, and should be available all day long, or even more than that. But since we're not able to meet, and just want you guys to keep moving, so you can have a broomstick or some kind of a stick or a chair if you need it, just to be able to get some movement in. And just don't overdo it. Just don't go over and beyond what you're able to do. But just remember, movement is medicine. Just simple movement, getting out sometime during the day. But let me encourage you to make an appointment. Don't just say, well, I'm going to do this, and you keep putting it off and putting it off. And the earlier in the day you can do it, the better. If you can do it first thing, that'll be wonderful. It's about 3 to 5 right now, and getting out in the morning and have the opportunity to be able to move. It doesn't have to be a lot of movement, just a little bit of movement. So let's go ahead, and if you have a stick, go ahead and go get a stick. If you just want to watch today and get some preparation in your mind. But basically all we want to do is to do a few movements, and I'll just try to introduce them, and maybe I'll try to introduce some safer movements for some of you that might not be able to do some of these. Remember, ease into these. You don't want to force them. You don't want to try to force yourself into a position. You want to generate an extension or an elasticity as a gift, not as something that you're trying to steal back. All right? So remember, how you breathe is how you live. If you try to hold your breath all the time, that means you're trying to hold on to life, and guess what? You can't do that. If you breathe fast and tight, that means you're trying to live fast. And if you live fast, you die quick. So we want long, deep, full breaths. Breathe into the pose. Breathe into the movement. Exhalation is the release. Inhalation is the strength. So shoulder dislocates. Now we're going to put the bar or the pipe or the broom right behind the shoulder, set the feet parallel distance just underneath the hips, and turn against the hips. So if we turned like this, we would be turning with the hips. So we're going to turn against the hips. We're going to do the same movement, except we're going to be bent over. Now remember, don't do this if you have problems with balance, dizziness, anything like that. You don't have to do this. Just ease into these movements. Again, feet are a little broader apart, flat back, hinge through the hips. Okay, so I've got a flat back, hinging through the hips. Okay, that goes back, turn in, turn in. Hopefully my bald head didn't blind you too badly there. All right? So that's hinging at the back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a few hamstring extensions. So I want to take my stick, put right along the top of the back of the lumbar, right in the center there. Again, hinge, keep the head and chest tall. Fire through. All right, remember, hinging back, keeping the head and chest tall. That's getting the hamstrings in extension. And then when we fire and rock through, that's the pelvic tilt, getting into a curved position with the lumbar, rocking the center up and through. All right, full extension, center up and through. Get your stick out front. If you've got a broom, you can hold it like this. If you've got a regular stick, you can get on the end. Just adapt however you want. Drop down and in now, just like this. Turn and look underneath the arm. Turn and look underneath the arm. As you can get more aggressive, you can straighten the leg and then bend the stick back and look higher. Good job. Now, you can keep the stick here, okay? Hold on to it for balance, but what we want to do is we want to imagine that we've got a nose about as long as Pinocchio, and on the end of that nose, there's a crayon, and we're going to draw the biggest figure 8 that we can, okay? So I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to keep this to keep my balance. I'm going to have plenty of stability through my feet being wide. Remember, more balance, okay? By stepping out, all right? You're going to feel crunching. You're going to feel sometimes pulling through the traps, through the neck. Just try to make the biggest figure 8. And remember, draw that figure 8, at least 5 figure 8s, and then the other direction. Good. I did about 6 per side. Now I'm just going to move through. You can take the stick and you can hold the stick back behind you as a reference if you want. Just move through. Drop the neck to each side to get extension through the trap. If I find a spot it's got some extra tension in it, I'm just going to get through it. Now I'm just going back and forth on the chalkboard or the whiteboard for today, right? No chalkboards. Remember, if you're going through this time with your mate or significant other and you have an issue, okay? Anytime you have an issue, they'll always consider both sides. Her side or his side, or going outside, okay? That's why I'm outside. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we've got our neck movement, okay? All right, there's going to be some crunchies in there. So what we're going to do now, hold on to your stick. If you don't have a stick, you can hold on to the wall, hold on to the chair. You can have a chair here, something to hold on to. Now we're just going to start some motion. Now remember, anytime you're balancing, we want to have most of the pressure on our forefoot. We don't fire our leg through and stand straight up and put the pressure through the heel. I want the pressure on the forefoot. I want to find that one spot. I want to get in a nice balanced position, okay? Figure 4. Figure 4. And now all we want to do now is just draw that figure eight. 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 Okay, nice and simple. Now, if you can continue to keep your balance on this, now just draw the figure eight with the knee. Eight. Eight. Good. Now what you're going to find is it's going to be a lot of stability work on that other foot. If you need to put your foot down or touch your foot to the ground, fine. So we did those two, and now let's just do hip openers, okay? Bring the knee back, up, and around. Back, up, and around. Good. One more. Good. Now we're going to finish. If you can, put the foot down. Don't force yourself to do this. Bring the foot up. Now just draw the figure eights with the toes. Now the other way. Good. And then put it down like, all right. I'm going to get some nice cold water here. Yummy. Right when you wake up in the morning, even if you're taking medication, it's good to get some water back into your system because you dehydrate during the night, okay? All right, gave you some time to recover now. Gave me some time to recover, okay? So let's try the other side, all right? Ready? So we're going to get up. First thing we're going to start is that figure eight. 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 If you can, keep the leg up in the air. Now, with the knee. Eight. Eight. Good. Now we're just going to do, let's see if I can remember correctly, just do some hip openers, right? Good, and now the foot. Now the other side. Good. Now that's going to go a long ways to help you with your stability. All right, just the ability to balance. That's why you got your stick to help you. One day maybe we'll try it without the stick, but now we're just trying to introduce you to some basic movements, okay? So we'll put our stick back and around. Got a nice little flyer going back there, all right? Hands are on the hips now. Now we're going to bring the feet in a little bit, not touching, but in a little bit. And now we're going to do our figure eight through our knees, okay? You might want your hands on your hips. Some of you might want to put your hands on your knees. If you have issues with your knees, don't overdo this. None of this is to be overdone. We're trying to introduce the synovial fluid to our joints. We're not trying to force our joints into a different position. We're just trying to lubricate or nourish them. Try to think in positive terms. Don't think I've got to fight the tension. Tension will always win. What you're going to do is you've got to experience the extension. Look at it, the ability to move as a blessing. We're not trying to make our body do something. We're trying to allow our body to give us what it has for that day. All right? So again, just a figure 8. And the other way. And my heels are coming up. Did that about a 4 count on each side. Now back to your stability position. Right, feet are underneath, and let's four, okay? Now let's do some stuff with our arms. Shake out the arms. Now, when I go to do both arms, I'm going to introduce a lot more tension here. So let's do one arm at a side, all right? Ready? Bring the hand up and back. Other side. Now forward. Sweeping like you're picking something up. Just putting it down. Good. Okay, now we're going to do just a few movements, both arms. What we're going to do is we're going to put the hands back of each other, okay? I'm going to feel that stretch down through here. I'm going to bring them up. I'm going to lean back, lay open, and then I'm going to come back through, and then the hands to the back. Now, if you have any issues with your lower back, you have to be careful when you're leaning back and through like that, okay? Maybe don't do it as aggressively as I'm doing it. I'm going to get a little more movement each time, all right? Make sure we're not holding our breath. Remember, we're not trying to live fast. The faster you live, the quicker you die, all right? So nice, long, deep breaths, okay? Breathing in, releasing. Releasing. A lot of popping going on. We're going a little deeper each time. You do so if you can. It's all right to pause the breath, as long as you're not creating too much tension. You don't want to introduce tension or control. We're just trying to move smoothly. These movements are yogic, but yoga just means movement. That's all it means. Guru is just somebody that tries to remove the darkness. There's only one way to remove darkness, right? The introduction of light. Alright, now I'm sweeping the ground. I'm releasing into the sky. Now I'm going to turn to the left. Release to the right. Shouldn't be forced. Turn to the right. Release to the left. One more center. Back to stable. Alright, don't worry about mimicking every movement. I know many people are like, they've got to try to see and do it. It's not an accuracy. It's not about being accuracy. Having accuracy. Or being accurate. Alright? It's about you moving. So if you get into a flow move and all of a sudden you're doing something that's different, who cares? It's not like I've got this ex-cathedral. It's been handed down from the yogic gods on high. It's the pose. It's not about the pose. It's about the person. So if you're getting into a flow movement, as long as you're moving and flowing through it, don't open your eyes and say, "Oh, I didn't do it again." Whatever. Trust me, I'm not the standard setter. All right. Now we're gonna do with the arms. So Steve Maxwell. A lot of the moves, the majority of the moves and stuff I get from Steve Maxwell. He's just a guy that he just knows how to move. He's just joint mobility. He has a lot of things going on, but this is one of his things. Takes just the curve of the hand. Most everything I've showed you this morning is from Steve Maxwell. Curve of the hand, and it's going to swing, and it's going to hit right across the meridian right here. So we're going to start off a little bit slower, and then as my hand comes around, I'm going to let that part come right around and hit me right in the kidney, okay? So I'm going to set up again, nice and smooth. We're going to start off a little bit slower. So I'm going to turn. So when this hand hits here, this hand, kidney punch. We're not hitting ourselves hard. We're letting our arms be free. So just letting the head turn. So when we tap, breathing out. A little more aggressive. How many? I've got no idea. I wasn't thinking about a number. I was thinking about our breath. I was thinking about that rotated motions. All right, now we're going to finish up. That's pretty good. It's been 20 minutes. We're going to finish up now with just some ujjayi breathing, just some simple breathing. What I want you to do, close one nostril. I've got my finger on my right nostril. I'm going to breathe in. Hold. Close that nostril, breathe out. Don't be too aggressive. We might get an extra gift. Breathe in. Close, breathe out. Breathe in. Close, breathe out. Breathe in. close, breathe out. Breathe in. Open. All right, good. All right, those are movements. Now, I'd like for you to, if you can, do some breath practice where you take 5 minutes, breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds, and then empty for 5 seconds. So it looks like this. You breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. Now, if you could practice that for 5 minutes, just trying to focus on the breath, all right? Now, it's been 20, almost 30 minutes. I started a little bit before 5. Just simple movements, all right? Hopefully this will help. I'm going to do some other movements here on my own, but the thing is as I introduce these to you, this will be an opportunity for you just to have some medicine, movement medicine. It's not it's not something that you need to be scared of. It's something that you can ease into. We did everything standing. Again, you can have a chair, you can have the stick, you can have something to hold on to. This is not about challenging yourself. It's about moving, all right? And if you'll allow the body to move, you will release things spiritually and mentally and emotionally that will help you to be able to function better. Just like a doctor would give you medicine. Listen, we're going to take this medicine so you can function better. Movement is medicine. Don't forget that. And I tell you what, today, why don't we live in the shadow of the Almighty instead of in the shadow of death? Fear is a learned response. And many of us are living in fear. We're practicing fear. We're engaging in fear. Why not today? Let's just not fear death. Death's going to come whether you fear it or not. All right, it's like going into a haunted house. You're going into a haunted house. You're paying somebody to go into a haunted house to be scared. You know they're going to try to scare you. All right. So death is there. I know death is there. It may be today. It may be 10 years from now. But why live in the fear of it coming? I'm just going to try to live today with the blessing of life. That I have breath. That I have life. Let's try that. Maybe it'll work out a little bit better. So we'll see how this goes. If it goes great, maybe we'll start introducing some other movements in the morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks.